Most people aren't afraid of artificial intelligence. They're afraid of what happens when someone else understands it first. Every organization says it's adopting AI. Very few are talking about what it quietly changes. Because new tools don't just increase productivity, they rearrange leverage. And leverage rearranges status. When someone adopts a new capability early, especially one that accelerates thinking, decision-making, or output, it doesn't just make them more efficient, it changes how value flows through the system. Tasks that used to take hours now take minutes. Gatekeepers become optional. Information bottlenecks dissolve. And the hierarchy feels unstable, not because anyone did anything wrong, but because predictability has been disrupted. Organizations are built on predictable value. Everyone knows who handles what. Everyone knows who approves what. Everyone knows where expertise lives. But when a tool collapses time and compresses knowledge gaps, those assumptions begin to shift. Suddenly, someone lower in the hierarchy can produce work that rivals someone higher. Suddenly, initiative matters more than tenure. Suddenly, adaptability competes with authority. And that's when innovation starts to feel like a threat. Not because the tool is dangerous, but because it exposes something uncomfortable. It reveals where value was tied to process instead of outcome. It reveals where influence depended on scarcity of information. It reveals which roles were stable and which were simply unchallenged. Early adopters often believe they are helping, and they usually are. But visible leverage creates invisible tension, because systems resist sudden shifts in relative advantage, especially when those shifts weren't planned from the top down. If you've ever introduced a new tool and felt the room change, if you've ever shared an efficiency gain and noticed hesitation instead of excitement, if you've ever sensed that your curiosity made someone uneasy, you weren't imagining it. You were observing a power recalibration in real time. That recalibration doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means the system is adjusting. New technology does not eliminate value. It reorders it. It elevates translators, people who can bridge human judgment and machine capability. It elevates pattern recognition. It elevates adaptability. It elevates those who can ask better questions, not just execute familiar answers. And that shift is uncomfortable, because comfort thrives on stability, but growth thrives on movement. The mistake is believing that innovation creates enemies. More often, it reveals insecurity. And insecurity isn't a flaw. It's a signal that roles need redefining, a signal that incentives need realignment, a signal that value is evolving. The healthiest organizations don't suppress that signal. They surface it. They create space for learning. They reward experimentation without punishing transparency. They recognize that early adopters are not threats. They are previews of what's coming. If innovation feels threatening, it's rarely about the tool itself. It's about what the tool exposes. Exposure feels destabilizing, but exposure also creates clarity. And clarity allows systems to evolve deliberately instead of defensively. Artificial intelligence is not the first technology to do this, and it won't be the last. Every major shift begins with discomfort. The question isn't whether change will happen, it's whether it will be interpreted as loss or as leverage. When innovation feels like a threat, pause before retreating. Ask what it is actually revealing, because in most cases the danger isn't in learning the tool. The danger is pretending nothing is changing, and systems that pretend stay stable, right up until they don't.